Thriving with deep learning technology, the world has seen a greater change that can reform creativity. Starting from the baby steps brought up by the ImageNet Challenge, deep neural networks tackled discriminative tasks successfully. But not until recently, generation tasks, which we once regarded as the holy grail towards artificial general intelligence, now can be toyed with by anyone. AIs can create music, generate novels, and even draw pictures, given a few words as the prompt. However, no technology came without a cost. AI image generation is hyper popular right now. Disco Diffusion, Stable Diffusion, Imagen, DALL-E, and the GAN family for the domain-specific tasks can now mimic paints that even the artists themselves cannot tell the difference. The recreation is easily replicable. Machines don't need rest. With a few GPU hours, the algorithms can generate hundreds of thousands of new artworks. Many fear that this technology may endanger their career. Some want to ban generative models from using their work. But do they have any ways to detect misconduct? Even worse, do they have any ways to claim plagiarism? To understand this issue, we have to dive deep into the core of generative models. So, generative models are essentially just functions. They merely map inputs to outputs. When painting, the inputs are prompts and the outputs are images. The functions are complex though, as they have millions or even billions of parameters. But how does a model get its parameters? The parameters are computational results given the training dataset. After we decided on the model architecture, we use gradient descent to shrink the error between the targeted outputs and the model outputs. However, because of the differences in the random seeds, the batch size, the initialization, the kernel version, and the hardware configuration, it is intractable to find out whether an open-sourced model uses an image as its training sample or not. We can do another logical extension. What if a company wants to train its model with user information like their purchases, their facial features, and their fingerprints? According to GDPR by the European Union, the users should have the right to be forgotten. But the trained models still have the features of the users, even if their information is deleted afterward. Data masking or data obfuscation. The users are still representing the same data distribution. As for the copyright problem, let us shift the time back a few years, and let me use a famous case as an example. Suppose I want to develop an algorithm for the iPhone to be able to take a clear picture of the moon. There are several options. Firstly, if I manually Photoshop the moon from a taken picture with the moon from the NASA photo dataset, and claim that my iPhone is really good at taking pictures of the moon, it is clearly cheating. Secondly, if I use a detection algorithm to replace the moon with NASA images automatically, it still seems cheating. Thirdly, I use a more complicated algorithm that finds out approximations of tiny patches of the moon from different moon images from the NASA dataset, then replaces them in place with interpolation. The algorithm is no simple copy and paste, but each patch can still be matched with an original image. Even if one argues that this algorithm is still cheating, the pieces of evidence are hard to locate. Fourthly, I use generative models trained on the NASA dataset to perform super resolution. Now that the source image cannot be directly found out, is that cheating? Philosophically, we can say that the high-dimensional manifolds represent the property of things, and in our case, when we sample from the manifold, we obtain a projection of the moon itself. But the shape of the manifold was propagated with the NASA training data. Thus, we have to take the dataset into account. We cannot directly measure the mean squared error of two images and claim plagiarism. Copyright law does not protect the style, as it does not protect the gameplay or the camera movement. Then the question is, what should the law protect? What can the law protect? We may advocate laws and regulations, but there are still years to come.